please start.
Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Abhishek Chanda. I'll be the um, the host for today's meeting, and we have all joined together, as most of us uh, would be familiar with, to discuss the book Legacy of M.K. Partition: The Legacy of M.K. Gandhi by Ms. Kamlesh Kapur. This is the eighth session that we are going through. So we will have her, the author will speak before, and then we will take question and answer at the end. So, madam, you can take it from here.
Yes. Okay. Namaste, everyone. I'm Kamlesh Kapur, as introduced. It hasn't changed one bit. Anyway, so the first thing that I want to tell you is this, that this presentation session will be the forerunner of the next 70 years. So that is why it is very important that we discuss those 6 months when the interim government was there, partition was declared, boundary line was already in place, and that is where it seemed everything is in place from some points of view. So, merger of the states, making of the constitution, who was included, how was the body constituted, all of these things depend on what is happening in this session that we are discussing, the events of this session. So before jumping to that, it is essential to understand the role of the key players. The key players are the same. Gandhi remains in the shadow, partly feeling irrelevant, but mostly because he was doing so many things behind the back of the Congress party and behind the back of the people of India. And then there is, so focus of today's talk is shadowy games played by the British and Gandhi. Shadowy games, which means behind the scene, there were too many things going on, and each was playing its own game for its own ends. So not everything was up and up. Many people think that perhaps the Congress party knew what was going on or they were participants. Absolutely not. It was just the key players. And most of what Gandhi was doing or Mountbatten was doing, even Nehru did not know. And that is where the pattern is very familiar. What was going on in the last 30 years was going on even in those years. And people were caught in that confusion, conflict, and whole lot of the stuff that was going on. So this is important also because this is going to be the guideline for Nehru also, Nehruvian government. I mean that the government of Nehru, his daughter, and everybody who came after that, the dynasty, and he also was going behind the back of everything. So we will discuss that later on, but I'll make a brief mention of how the two are linked. What Gandhi was doing, playing the shadowy games, how, and Nehru was doing the same thing. And Mountbatten's game plan was known to him and Churchill and Attlee, and that was understandable. You see, Mountbatten acting in his own interest, in the interest of his government and the British country as such. Gandhi and Nehru were doing against the interests of their own country. And that is absolutely despicable, and the nation doesn't know till this day. And if somebody is trying to tell them that this is what is happening, what was happening, and how deeply hurt the country was by the tragedies and how deeply betrayed some of us feel, they don't want to face it. So this is where we are going to. Now, this map is what Gandhi agreed, and even while he was alive, Nehru agreed too. So this shows the part that is cut off, that is POK, what we call Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And this happened while Gandhi was trying to prevail in his own way. So the next map is more clear. This is the map that we have now. Now look at this map. This is what was at the time of the partition. So the size is very important. I mean, see, this is northwest frontier provinces, which is parts of Peshawar, Quetta, Bannu, and that part. And this part is POK, Baltistan and Gilgit area, very crucial. And then this is Balochistan. This part was independent. And this is the southern part of Sindh, which was Hindu majority and was supposed to be in the, according to the boundary line, it was supposed to be in India. These Sindhis were supposed to be in India. But then, let's see how this man is responsible for cutting us off from all these areas. So the British actually had a very wide kind of broad plan. They separated, they created 5 countries. One was Ceylon, at that time known. Then the other was Burma. And then there was Pakistan and Balochistan and Afghanistan. So this is how they divided the 5 into 5 countries. This entire country was Bharat Varsh. This entire country was Bharat Varsh. And we, the names of those places and the events or the history of those places will show ample evidence that they were in Indian kingdoms, even as mentioned in Mahabharata and Ramayana. Okay, so you see, this is, we are going to focus, how did we lose this? How did this become part of Pakistan? How did we lose this area? And where was the whole confusion about? Of course, we lost here a lot. Okay, so I wish I could transpose the other map on this, but somehow that involves some kind of technology that I don't know. So what happened to NWFP? NWFP was historically part of, was a Hindu majority and Shia Muslims. So very few Sunnis were there. And Abdul Ghaffar Khan, who is also known as Frontier Gandhi, he was in charge of that area. And probably he was going to be in India. Actually, by mistake, he was going to be in India or independent. So either way, he didn't want to be part of Pakistan. So Gandhi is declared that he is my very good friend and he's Frontier Gandhi, using lending his name, doing a favor to Ghaffar Khan. So how did this happen then? So this area was wanted to be in India, and Congress was ruling there even at the time of partition as a province. So Mountbatten did not want it. Now, this is another interested party. He wanted this either to be under British or to be in Pakistan, because he was always thinking of his own country, that who will be more beneficial in future to the British, Pakistan as a landing ground or a buffer place, or India and he never trusted Hindus. So now what happened was that Mountbatten said, let us have referendum or plebiscite. You see, very few people know this backhand strokes that he was dealing in the game. So this part, Ghaffar Khan did not want any kind of plebiscite. He says, we have already decided, and we already decided during the election preceding the partition what we want. Mountbatten insisted, and Ghaffar Khan was afraid of the fact that if there is a plebiscite, the Pakistani Muslims will rush and start voting there. So that was his fear, which was very correct. And then Mountbatten ran to Gandhi to prevail on Gandhi that do something. Gandhi on that day, very interesting point, he was he was observing Maun Vrat, which means observing silence for the whole day. So Mountbatten wrote that we want referendum and plebiscite there. Ghaffar Khan does not agree. What do you think? And in a note form, Gandhi wrote down, as you know, I am observing silence, but I agree with you, there should be a plebiscite. My condition is that neither the Congress party nor the supporters of the Congress party nor the supporters of Ghaffar Khan should vote. Then who is going to vote? Hindus are not going to vote because they are Congress supporters, and Shias are not going to support because they are Ghaffar Khan's supporters. Then obviously somebody will be voting. What a nightmare he created. I mean, total defeat for India. So obviously, everybody's hand tied. We are not going to vote. We are not going to show up. We are not even going to campaign for India. In that circumstance, as predicted by Ghaffar Khan, Pakistani came running and during violence, the plebiscite was, and obviously what happened is known to everybody. So we lost this area. Balochistan was declared independent somehow with the connivance of Mountbatten. This became part of where, they just annexed it. Annex means that there was no war or anything, simply they went there and occupied it. Saying that there were some protests, but most of the Hindus were killed or expelled or ran away. Some stayed, but it was annexed. Again, Gandhi did nothing, Nehru did nothing, Patel did nothing, and Mountbatten, of course, he was in charge of both the countries at that time. He should have invoked the Act of 1935 in order to stop all these kind of stupidities going on, especially in Balochistan. Okay, so this is where we lost. We kept losing actually. Now we are talking about this area, which is POK, and that is a separate session embroiled in Kashmir Kingdom. So right now we are where the boundary line actually now is and where it was originally designed. And nobody really has ever explored this issue, nor ever explained to the people. So, by the way, most of the documents and the events during the 17 years of Nehru, they were not kept in the archives of the parliament. They were kept in his private possession, and later on shifted to the archives of Congress Party. I mean, no other country can ever boast of such stupidity, that it belongs to the party, all the proceedings, than to the people of the country and to the parliament's own library. So now that takes care of Ghaffar Khan wanted Pashtunistan or part of India, and Tamasha that Gandhi did, and the matter of Balochistan. Unasked for concession to Pakistan. Now this is interesting. Many things Pakistan never even asked. This is strange. If they did not ask, why are you offering it? What prompts you to bend over backward or do all kind of sajda? Sajda is a bowing low in front of Jinnah. Why are we doing that? We are still doing it. So what Jinnah asked and agreed, what Mountbatten agreed to, that was fine so far. So give to Jinnah, NFWP Balochistan, southern part of Sindh, 75 crores to rebuild Pakistan. Hindus did not destroy. They simply ran away during burning fires and all that massacres. So why is India responsible for rebuilding Pakistan? They destroyed, let them rebuild. Then the division of defense forces was done in such a way and that it should be half and half. Now, except for the Air Force, everything was going to be half and half. How is that? How can that be when 1/3 of the area gets half of it? So that was negotiated, but you see, nothing much happened. Eventually, India lost most of the army because those who were still in India ran away and joined the Pakistan army. So this is another goof up that India faced. No defense forces. The third issue was river water. And river water, all those 7 rivers and tributaries, their origin is Kashmir, and beyond that, the glaciers, Gangotri, but the ones which flow towards the Arabian Sea, they all originate in Kashmir and beyond that the glacier. So that was part of India. So Mountbatten decided, in case, even though he was almost 99% sure that he will be able to get the entire Kashmir, either as independent under Britain or with Pakistan. But for 1% chance, he decided that the river water should be decided right away. And they said that Pakistan is free to use the river water flowing down in their area, but if they want more, we have no objection. I have still not been able to grasp this kind of fact, that how can you do that when your own Punjab area, East Punjab was not a very good agricultural land because the river water was all going that side, and the Ganges and Yamuna were north of Punjab. So obviously it was a very losing kind of not bargain, concession. Why as much as they need? Okay. So Jashn-e-Azadi comes. 14th August 1947, Tryst with Destiny, and the speech at midnight, not knowing the fate of the people who were walking. I have seen those caravans. We used to say, kafla is going on, kafla lag gaya. As children, not knowing what it means, as much as the tragedy of it, but I'm eyewitness to that. And Nehru could not care anything about it, and Gandhi was in his own stupid world. So now Nehru had already vowed that India will never have a monarch. Now, this is another irony of fate. He himself became the monarch. Not only monarch, his undeserving or progeny became the dynasty and heir apparent to the Nawab Gandhi or Nawab Nehru or Monarch Nehru, King Nehru. So this plan, he lied. You see, he lied here because the plan for the dynasty was set up in motion in 1944. What was when Indira Gandhi was married according to the Muslim rites, and her name was changed, and the name became Indira Khan. Actually, it was something else, but Khan. Why did he give the name Gandhi? Because Nehru said that independent India will never accept a Muslim woman as the prime minister. Here you go, the web of lies that we are told that there won't be a monarchy. There was a monarchy as planned in 1944. There was not going to be partition as per circulated news. There was a partition and they knew it in 1940. Okay. So now let us know about a little bit of Nehru. After all, he is going to be his chosen prime minister. That is, the fall of democracy happened on that very day when Patel was chosen and Nehru was appointed, selected. So that is autocracy by itself. Democracy's one pillar died. He said that he is Muslim by culture, Christian by education, and Hindu by accident. So he himself says that he is a Muslim. And apart from that, he was, not that he admitted, he was a socialist demagogue. Because in 1927, he visited, and it is like, childhood memories, young age memory. He was mesmerized by the Soviet system and he wanted it a socialist communist country. He was arrogant. He would never listen to anything. He was smug in his ignorance. He did not know the geography of the country, where Gilgit is, where Partition is, what is the history of Kashmir, and we will talk about that in the next session. And he was a Hindu hater because he said, during the making of the constitution, someone said that we should have a referendum from the majority, which is Hindu majority. And Nehru said, who cares about the opinion of cattle? What's the difference between British saying, who cares about the dog in the cage, and Nehru saying, who cares about the cattle, opinion of the cattle? So he was treacherous, high-handed, and he was suspicious of his well-meaning advisors. So that is where we see the nightmare, the legacy of Gandhi. Gandhi was co-conspirator in encouraging all these things. In fact, when he selected Nehru, he said that laughingly, this guy, Nehru, is the last English viceroy to rule India. And that's something to boast about, that he is an Englishman. Now, he was lackey to the British. He agreed to all this. Please, you can read this. If you have not read in the book up to this point, here he solemnly affirms that he'll be faithful to the King George VI. And this is every year he took that oath. And then affirmed that I will well and truly serve our sovereign, King George VI, Emperor of India, in the office of member of the Governor General's Executive Council. Where is independence in the entire scenario so far? Let's go to the next. Now, it comes to the name. India, what is in a name? Many people say India is fine, English language is fine, everybody understands all over the country. What is in a name? In the name is your identity, your heritage, your past, your roots, everything. It is your identity. So the subcontinent was known as Bharatvarsh or Aryavrat. The name Bharat is mentioned in the Rig Veda epics and the Puranas, and in one of the Upanishads. And this is the verse which appears. The country, Varsham, that lies north of the ocean from Kanyakumari means, and south of the snowy mountains is called Bharatam. And there dwell the descendants of Bharat. Bharat was the king. So this is clear. This is our ancient name. And everybody who lives there are Bharatiya or belonging to the country Bharat. So many people think it is a geographical entity. It is not. It is a continuous cultural entity. It is contiguous geographically entity. So integrated India was supposed to be known as Hindustan. If that is Pakistan, why we are still India? We should be Hindustan. So this was the master stroke behind the scene where Maulana Azad played his hand, and Gandhi, of course, was in favor of India, and Hindu leaders was rank and file, stupid and naive, and wanted to be blindfolded. By that time, in 35 years, Gandhi had rendered all of them as incapable of thinking, blind, deaf and dumb, by choice, first by suggestion, and we still are the three monkeys of Gandhi, because the way things look like, people don't think anything is wrong, why we are not, why Hindu dharma is dying and why the culture is so badly being eroded, and that I feel more Indian landing in Delhi than the Indians I see there. So this background material is important, where the legacy of Nehru and Gandhi comes to play the most. The rest of the book is about his legacy. If we are talking about corruption, it started with Gandhi. If we start with lying, secretiveness, killing the pillars of democracy, or mistreating Hindus, or terrorism, you name it, anything that happened after 1947 can be traced back to this scenario. So these shadowy games are the main focus, how we lost NWFP, and how we lost Sindh, and how we lost ourselves as Hindus. We are secular, we are every other thing, but we are not allowed to say we are Hindus. And by the way, this also shows snowy mountains, a Himalaya, and Kanyakumari tip, Bindu. So joining Himalayas and Bindu, the word Hindu came. It did not come from Sindh or given by Persian or blah blah blah. It comes from this very shloka. Okay, and I escape. Now the floor is yours. Okay. Now any
Okay.
questions?
Sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry about this. So, continuing from the previous ones, as I understand that Gandhi was the pivotal person. He played the pivotal role in creating the modern Indian political scenario because uh, because of the thinking that he was able to enforce upon others. Now, I have a few questions on that, but I'd like if anyone else of the viewers have questions on today's talk, please ask, and then I will ask at the end.
Kamlesh ji, thank you very much for enlightening us very serious talk how Indian partition and how our leadership.
Sir, please introduce yourself.
Myself, Vimal from Kenya. I've attended even last time, and I'm really delighted to hear Kamlesh ji's views on how India.
The voice is breaking up a bit. If you could simply type in your question in the chat box, I'll narrate it.
Meantime,
Yeah. If anyone else would like to ask till that time.
somebody raised a hand.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Sir,
Sumuk Bhatt.
am I?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, you are saying that the place was historically known as Arya Vrat as well. Are there any difference between Arya Varta and Arya Vrita? And it would be great if you give some historic, context as well. Thank you.
Arya Vrit, Vrit is a separate Sanskrit word. Vrat is where something is included in that. So it is the linguistic pattern of the Sanskrit language. Bharat Varsha, Bharat Arya Vrat. So where noble people live. It doesn't mean that some were nobles and the other was not. They addressed each other as noble man. And just as now we do respectfully Devi ji, we call women Devi ji, like that. So it was called Hey Arya. So Arya Vrat is the word used during the Mahabharata and Ramayana time, mostly Mahabharata time. And since there were so many other people there, so Bharat is a more ancient name, even though it is associated with one of the Mahabharata kings, Kuru dynasty, but Bharat is a very ancient word. And Bharat as a Rashtra is mentioned in Rig Veda also. And if anybody wants, I'll consult my notes. Everything is not given in the book, and I don't also remember. But I can give you the actual shloka, which mentions Bharat as Rashtra. So Bharat again is Bharat, where the light descends, full of light or enlightenment.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, do we have it in chat? I don't see any question in the chat box. Vimalji, you're on mute.
He is on mute. You can ask the question in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. Mentioning that we have noted with great concern that our leadership at the time of partition was having different agendas. Instead of uniting the nation and coming as the one nation, there was a DRC, divide and rule, which is propagated by the British. And our leadership agreed that time. This is very sad part of the story.
Correct. Exactly correct. Nehru, being a Muslim, he segregated Hindus. And later on, when linguistic states were made, that purpose of that was division, regional bifurcation, languages. You see, Punjabi, Suba, and this whole thing, Dravidian languages group, and that game was going on, divide along region, along language, and of course, anything else that comes in between, like Lingiyat. Recently, Lingiyats are separated from Hindus, Jains are separated from Hindus. You name it, you see, it is ongoing kind of, after 75 years of, Bharat Todo, now one of his progeny is Jodoing Bharat. Something, the glass is broken into smithereens, and you collect all those smithereens and you put up the tumbler together. These are unemployed people, and they are also unemployable people. They have no worth otherwise except, start, to get attention, foreign media, stuff like that. And absolutely correct that Bharat was broken steadily with intention and behind the backs of the parliament also. And that I will touch when we talk about the reign of Nehru the monarch. So.
Now, Kamlesh, I want to ask one question, very simple one. Do you think now, since Modi ji has come to power in 2014, are we coming back on the right track to fight those forces internally, plus also propagate our Vedic culture, Hinduism in a strong way, and bringing some changes, basic changes in our culture values enhancement?
Yes. Up to the people what they want to do. If everybody wants to lose the identity and claim to be westernized and modern, then that is what will become. I chose to be proud and I'm proud of my cultural heritage. And I want to give the same route to my friends and family. Then it is up to the same thing is up to other people. Whether they are going along with it in India, kya farak padta hai. So if that is the mentality that it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. I'm just giving you an example. In 1982, I was coming back from India and somebody was sitting next to me. And you see, conversationally, we exchange a couple of hellos. And then he said, I asked him, what's your name? And he asked mine. And I say, you are Hindu. He says, no, I'm a secular. I never heard this brand as a religion. You see, you can be dharamnirpeksh, impartial, not taking sides, but secular as a religion, never heard. So I said, secular is, everybody is secular, but who you are? He says, I'm secular. So I said, in Hindi, I said, माँ का धर्म तो कोई होगा ना, जब उसने पैदा किया तो तुम कौन थे? Who were you when you were born? What was the religion of your mother? And by the time I was so cheesed off, I just tried to ignore. I was really cheesed off. I am here after 12 years, and I am proud to be Hindu. And the moron says I am a secular, and he's denying his even parents' heritage. So when we landed in New York, he said that, ma'am, do you have a few quarters? Somebody, I have to call someone, so I need a couple of quarters. I said, you can have not one, two, because you may lose one. And I was so cheesed off that I asked him to give me 17.5 rupees in exchange. I mean, 2 quarters did not mean anything to me. But I was so upset by the word secular to describe a person as identity. So, hindsight, I feel I was so cheap that I asked him and he looked at me. But that's a fact. So this is another division. I'm saying that Hindus are not only divided in 10 different sects, they are also divided as secular and non-secular. And now there is the third, another category, a nationalist and fascist. If you say I am a staunch Hindu, then you are automatically a nationalist and a fascist. Yes, I am a nationalist. I am not a traitor. What is the opposite of nationalist? You see, people don't lead the discussion to conclusion. If somebody says that you are nationalist, then I would say that, yes, I am. Are you a traitor or a nationalist? Who you are? So people don't know how to fight the battle with words and the battle with a little bit of savvy and aggression. So I can go on and on. There are so many experiences.
Auntie Namaskar, this is Naresh. I also have a question.
Yes.
Are you able to hear me, Auntie?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So my question is, given what Gandhi did, especially with relation to the
Hello.
Sir, you're not audible. Mr. Naresh? Mr. Naresh, you're not audible.
So we know that Nathuram Godse acted in January 48, but why it took somebody, another 6 months after partition to get enraged and do what Mr. Godse did? Why somebody didn't get upset enough early on to somehow eliminate Gandhi?
Yeah, somebody was. There were some groups who were angry with him, and Godse attempted, this was his third attempt when Gandhi died. Previously, there were three other people with him. His own brother was also there. And in the next session, we'll talk about the death of Gandhi, because that had far more bad effects for the fate of Hindus than him being alive. His death was more of a lethal blow to Hindus because the whole country was blamed. All the Hindus were blamed for his death because Godse happened to be a Brahmin. So that I don't want to start now because it has a full half a session on that. But by
Yeah, I
the
was
way,
thinking,
had I been alive and of age, I would have done it in 1920.
yeah, which is the question I'm asking. So in partition, my family was forced to leave Lahore, right? So a lot of families came over. So somebody from those refugee families, or so why somebody else didn't do it sooner? Why it took another 6 months?
They did not know what is happening to them, and everybody required a shelter and food. So in those the way they left, they did not leave by choice and at the right time, because Gandhi kept saying, over my dead body. Obviously, people who even came 6 months earlier, some went back that we will go to our home and property. So people were, they thought that he is really a godlike figure. He is Mahatma and he is doing in our best interest. They did
Yes, so
not,
when train,
they don't know who Gandhi was. And they don't want to know either.
yeah, so when train full of Hindus, dead or alive, were coming into India side from Pakistan, right? My own family came on one of these trains. Fortunately, they survived. My grandmother used to tell a story. So there was a train leaving from Old Delhi railway station for Lahore, and Gandhi went and actually lay down in front of the train on the rails. He didn't want the train to go. He was saying, "Don't let these Muslims go there to Pakistan." So he kept. Basically, it's like you give somebody a cake, and they can have their cake and eat it too, right? If they get in partition a different country based on religion, then go there, right? Otherwise, stay together. But you can't get a country and also not go there. So now you have both sides of the candle, right? So
Yeah. In the heads they won and the tails we lose. Kind of. Yeah. But you are right. This is recorded by somebody who was coming from the opposite side. His name was BK something. So dear. I put it in the anecdotes, his name. And he saw and wrote one paragraph that Gandhi met those Muslims leaving for Pakistan and prayed to them that you stay, I look after them. I have given my word to Jinnah that nothing will ever happen to you, and I keep my word. And Hindus will not do anything to you at all and give you all the freedoms. So please stay back. And that guy remarked that on the opposite side, a train had come of wounded people from Pakistan. Nobody was there to receive them, console them, give them water, food, or anything. These are not just stories, these are the facts. Gruesome. And
I think the yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'm just thinking that the summary of India's situation at that time is like Nehru was born Hindu or Indian, but he was trying to become an Englishman. Gandhi was also born Hindu. He was trying to become a Muslim. So I mean, both people are trying to do something more for the others than their own people. So that looks like a sad story for India at that time.
Yeah, if your saviors don't save you, then who is going to save you? Nobody. And that is true till this day. In the government, things have changed, but by now they are so complicated that it's very hard to figure out how to start taking control of the situation, and all these bifurcated mafia-like groups and terrorists, how to control them. You see, it was easier then than it's now. But then, we end up what we are handed down. You see, people are My husband's uncle came from Lalpur and then to Lahore. And then when he crossed towards Amritsar, he said the entire kafla was hungry and thirsty. And they saw a distant place where it seemed like a well. When they went there, it was full of dead bodies. In fact, it appeared in Punjab Kesari, is a small article. It was written, Kuan Lashon se bhara tha. And it also came in Tribune. And this is long back.
So I had a dinner, not to distract too much from this, but just 30-second anecdote I'll tell you with a Britisher a couple of days ago. And he was asking me, did British rule do any good in India? So my answer was, if Hitler would have won over London and ruled you guys for 100 years, then I would ask you what Hitler did good for London. And that will be equal payback in my books,
Yeah, that is the answer.
Yeah.
When is a slave owner good to the slaves? Simple. You don't have to go to Hitler or anybody. Just think of that. So any more
Thank you,
questions?
Auntie, for a good session today. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Kamlesh Satya here. Actually, just a question here. First of all, it's very thankful to all your information in the book. Also, I just read a little bit about the book now. My question here is that in those days when we had such a big issue, like it is too late to act now, but those days, why all those Swamijis and all Hindu, Karyakartas, or even the religious people, why are they so silent, and why they did not act on the time when there's such a damage is going on at the time of partitioning?
Nobody could stand in front of Gandhi. Not allowed to. And some of the stalwarts, they were banned even to attend the meetings of at the negotiation table, like Savarkar. Not allowed. Ignored completely. Madan Mohan Malviya. These were seen. And Ambedkar's voice was so badly choked. I have given details of that. He was the only sane person on the table, but he was throttled, that thou shall not prevail. So, and Arvind Ghosh was in exile in Pondicherry. So, who are we talking about? The only person who claimed to be Swami was Gandhi himself.
Kamlesh, one last question I want to take. I don't want to take a lot of time, but to make it very quick here. We are in good hands of Modi right now, as we can see the difference he's making, right? I hope that India will have a good future in a good hands again. After Modi also, I hope that we'll be having some good prime ministership, and the Hindu dharma will be protected. What kind of thoughts you have to have some kind of prediction towards future of India?
It is a prediction. Prediction is that when you slide down in minutes because of the forces of gravity and because nothing is there to prevent you. So that is what has happened in all these years. When you are ascending, there are all kind of pinnacles of the sharp edges of the mountains. So that is your answer. So now there are ascendance is very difficult. You are gradually rising, but at the same time, the foreign media and Hindus, secularists and communists and Congressy, what are they doing? They are making some kind of digression, distraction, ye dharna, wo dharna, because they have nothing else to do. So you have not only, when Rawat said 2.5 enemies, he meant one, the more dangerous is a half. Because Pakistan is their enemy, our enemy. China is their enemy. The half, that half is Hindus themselves, Indians, Hindus, domestic people who are common sense challenged, or simply inert or lethargic, do nothing, and doubt everything. You see?
Thank you.
So I have a good vibe that India is now in good hands. So,
We have 5 more minutes to go. If no one has any other question, I'll just take my own.
Excuse me, I just want to make a comment too, please, if you'd let me. Yes?
Sure.
yes,
Okay.
go
Um, so first of all, I want to congratulate Kamlesh for, writing the book and, doing this series. I come from Punjabi family. Was born after partition. And of course, we all have stories. But what's interesting is that my Nani side family, they were Kapurs too. They are Kapurs. They were totally Congressy in their, politics. And my Nanaji was actually at the Jallianwala Bagh site when the massacre occurred. The paternal side was totally anti-Congress, anti-Gandhi. So I grew up on the stories that you described, and I'm very thankful that there are others who think accordingly. My question right now is that I'm very pleased with what's going on with Modi government, and there are more and more social media posts that kind of explain what happened during partition and the role of Nehru and Gandhi and what have you. But I do believe that religion and politics should be separate. And we are living in another country. We are in the United States, and we'd like it to be that way. So we should want the same in India as well, which is a diverse country right now. But now the issue is, I heard on the social media, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Gita will be taught in the high school. We all know there will be repercussions, especially in the social media, especially in the Western media. What are your thoughts about that? I am sort of neutral in that. I think religion should be kept separate, even though I'm a staunch Hindu myself. Yeah.
You see, personal dharma is something different. Rajya dharma is something different. Rajya dharma does not mean that you deny anybody freedom of religion, but your basic duty is protection of the people from domestic lawlessness and securing your borders. Otherwise, you do not interfere. The Raj Dharma says that. So, Raj Dharma is part of Hindu Dharma, Sanatan Dharma. Cosmic reality has different roles. I am following my mother Dharma. You see, Matra Dharma does not conflict with Christianity or anything, or legal framework. As far as a Hindu is concerned, his focus is that leave us alone, and we will abide by the rules and the regulations and the laws.
But
so
then
relation between citizens and the government. So separation of religion is not here. Here you are facing a different kind of crisis. And I tell you, in 2 years, I can't even imagine what will happen to this country.
Well, I'm aware of what's going on in this country, and that's why we have to support that religion and politics should be kept separate. So my question is, should we include Gita study in, high school situation? Because then we are forcing Hinduism on everybody,
This requires a separate session, by the way. First of all, Hindu is not a religion.
We are kind of running out of time now.
If you want, we can interject this particular point, separation of church and state.
Okay, good.
This is
Thank you.
Separate issue altogether. because
Thank
you
you.
have to choose between dharma and religion.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay.
sorry,
Well,
I can clarify.
thank you, everyone. Our 1 hour is over. So any questions, you can send, you can join in the next session, or you can send over to Rajiv ji, and he will share with me, and I will ask in the next one. But for now, thank you everyone for joining. Kamlesh ji, a big thank you to you again for sharing your time and experience with all of us.
Oh, when is the next session? Excuse me. When is the next
Uh,
session?
2 weeks from now,
Okay.
Rajiv ji.
Yeah, 22nd.
Should be
It's every
20.
2 weeks, so 22nd January.
Thank you.
That is
Same
when
here.
Gandhi dies. We are close to his death anniversary at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right then.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you, Kamlesh ji.